Going live on YouTube? All right. Good evening, YouTube. Good evening, my beautiful Discord. Who do we got in so far? I'm going to minimize this.
Don't forget to mute yourself.
All right. Good evening, YouTube. Good evening, my wonderful, beautiful community here on Discord. We've got Dr. K in the house. We've got John in the house, Little Faye, Mr. Growls, Miss Elle's Kitten, Paris Baby, Patrick, Sweet Tea, and Zaz. Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. And again, if you are new to this format or you just forgot from last time, if you would like to actually chat, head on over to the YouTube live chat channel. And then I will be able to see what you have to say. The only one that's talking to me right now is John, unfortunately. John, good evening. How are you, my friend? Oh, and Little Faye saying hi to me. Wonderful. Hello, Little Faye. Good evening. Hey, Dr. K, the best doctor a girl could ask for. Hello, hello. How is everyone doing today? And I know for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you cannot type text with us. That is intentional. That is on purpose. If you would like to join this amazing community, head on over to patreon.com/LXerotica and you can hang out with us and type and chat and ask questions and just get to know the best group of kinksters ever. So you just woke up? For those of you who are watching who don't know, Little Faye is from Australia. So she is in the future. YouTube video and chat window is looking perfect over there. Wonderful. Wonderful. PNS, welcome. Good evening. The future. She is. She's in the future. Right? Yes, it's 9 a.m. It's 6 p.m. for us. It's 9 a.m. for Faye. Faye is in the future. Faye, what secrets can you tell us that are going to happen in the next 12 hours? Hey, Sweet Tea. About to start driving home. I want to say hello. Do not text and drive. Keep yourself safe. But thank you so much for saying hi. Matt, good evening. So glad you were able to join us. The sun will come up. Ooh, good one, Little Faye. Little Faye predicting the future, and I'm sure accurately as well. Thank you for that, Little Faye. John is doing pretty good. Wasn't sure if you make this still at work next month or so. Will be hit or miss for you on Fridays. Oh, John. Well, we will miss you if you cannot join us, but I'm so glad that you were able to right now, today, even if you have to scurry off a little bit early, then I'm at least glad that we have this time with you right now. The sun will come out tomorrow. Yes, thank you. You're happy to be here. Wonderful. Wonderful. I'm so glad that you are here too. All right, now, children. Oh, okay. Now, we have something to do as a family tonight, children. That was magical. Little Faye, I think you're far too easily impressed. All right. So it's not any house cleaning. Not any house cleaning. But I've got a question. Oh, you're really not? Or maybe I'm just not impressed. No, I've heard myself sing, unless I sound like Josh Groban, not that deep though, or Emmy Rossum. Like, that's my standard. For those of you who don't know, Emmy Rossum played the main character, the girl on Phantom of the Opera. That child could sing. My goodness. I used to be a desk hand. I was in choir and theater and all that jazz. No pun intended. Anyway, when I was doing vocals and stuff, I was actually not a desk hand, but I was first soprano. I could touch, but I was usually about second soprano. Now I'm a nice sultry alto. I appreciate it. Goddess is like singer, actor, like interviewee, all the skills. Well, some skills are a little bit more well-developed than others, right? That applies to all of us. So anyway, now that we have successfully diverted, let's get us back on track. We're going to play a little game to start out with. Now, I'm jumping into this fast because I've got some amazing questions that I want to talk with you guys about today. And I have a feeling we're going to spend a lot of time ranting and raving on this first one. So, here we go. We're going to play, yes, keep time for me, of course. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. So, we're going to play a little game. And the name of the game is called How Old Is He? Okay? And I'm going to read a question that came in from a YouTube follower. Maybe they don't even follow, maybe they're just a watcher. And I am going to read it exactly how they typed it. Exactly how they typed it. And then at the end of this, you are going to guess how old this guy is, okay? Are you ready? Are you ready? Oh, this should be good. Just FYI, this is my reply. Just to this question, okay? Just so I wouldn't forget anything. Are we taking bets? Sure, why not? If you would like to gamble amongst yourselves, fine. Whoa, a lot of text. Ho, 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 ho. Okay. Woo. We ready? Let's get to the question. Again, I'm reading this exactly like it came in. I am not over-exaggerating. I will copy and paste this message into Discord if you don't believe me, but there's no reason that you should not believe me. This is exactly how it came in. Everyone, ready? Guess his age. Okay, here we go. Okay, Miss Elle, maybe you can help me and maybe not. I had someone I was with that I thought was my one. The one that would end up as my slave wife. She was my slave, but also my fiance. That is until she left me last year, right after I got her and I and my elderly cat all through COVID. My slave fiance was at my apartment for 3 months. I took care of everything. I cooked. I went to the store for groceries and the pharmacy for meds. I even drove the over half hour to her apartment to pick up her regular meds, all while still sick. Once we got better, she didn't do a thing to help me with anything. Not paying bills, shopping, house, chores, nothing! And she didn't seem to even want to serve me sexually. When I finally had had enough and said, "When are you going to help with things around here?" she got pissed at me. She hated me being on my computer and said that I was neglecting her. But she didn't do anything to not make me be on my computer. And she was always jealous, like I was trying to find someone else. I wouldn't have asked her to marry me if I had wanted someone else. We couldn't even go to the store or a restaurant or any place without her accusing me of looking for someone else. And when I said something about all of this bullshit, she said, "Fine, then I will leave." And she did. She packed her stuff, and I haven't seen or spoken to her since. But now, I feel like I will never, ever have the kinds of master-slave relationship that I want and need. And I am also too afraid to even trust anymore. So, I don't know what to do. I don't like being lonely and alone, but I also can't trust anymore either. If you feel like answering, cool. If not, that's fine. Sincerely, Lord McTire. So, children, how old is he? No, not tired. Not tired. Just tire. Tire. Mac tire. Like Mac tire, like Mac truck, like tires on a Mac truck. No. If that's a thing, I'm Goddess McTired. Okay? So Matt guesses he's 12 years old. Mr. Growls goes with 14 years old. Do we have any other guesses as to age here? Okay. Tired narrative. Dr. K's going older guy. Okay. Little Faye and John. Ooh, I can't wait to see the answers here. John says early 20s. Dr. K, what's your definition of older guy here? Miss L's kid, no, she can't cheat. Dr. K saying 50 plus. The boys are saying 12, 14, and early 20s. Ooh, very different guesses there. Very different guesses. Can't you have to be like 18 plus to do the marriage thing? Okay. Do you want me to tell you? Perhaps a mud pie for Faye. Faye said, I've seen 50 plus people act like that, though, sadly. All right. All right. I'm trying not to go off how he is acting. Okay. Drum roll, please. He is. Ready? 50 fucking 6 years old. 56. 56. Well played, Dr. K. Well played. 56. This little pitiful beta is 56 years old. Okay. So, can you send him a passy? I have something you can send him. Gives us over 50s a bad name. Fucking entitled. I haven't even opened my mouth. These are my babies just going. I hope no one goes there again. Well, I have something that I would like to say to Mr. McTire here. Run for the hills. Is that what you're telling Mr. McTire to do? Because he's not a lord. We're not calling him lord anything. We're not calling him dominant anything because he's not a dominant. Okay? So, here's the thing. Yeah, he said that. He said, he opened it up, and I left this out, but he said, I'm a 56-year-old dom that has been in the lifestyle for over 38 years. So he's been considering himself to be a dom since he was 18? 18? Ooh. Ew, bitchy McBeta son. Yes, right? So, and if you guys, I will show you. Literally, every time I raise my voice, look at how many times he capitalized words. I don't know if you can read it. I counted them out. He yelled 55 times. It was a wall of whining. But he asked what he should do. I can't disappoint him. I can't disappoint him. He asked for my advice here, children. I mean, we can just let him move on. But I did prep some very interesting replies, should anyone feel curious enough to want to know my answer to Mr. McTire. You are dying to know. Well, let's start out with melt him in the fire. Okay, so let me start out by saying, Mr. McTire, you are not a lord, you are not a dominant, you are not a master, and you will never get the privilege of that address from me or anyone in my community. All right? What you are is an entitled, egotistical fucking child. That's what you are. You're not a dom. I know that you say you're a dom, that you've been in lifestyle for 38 years. You may have been watching kinky porn for 38 years, but you have never dominated a fucking goldfish, if that's how you act. Now, with that being said, I'm probably going to continue to reply to you in a way that's going to get your cute little panties in a wad. So I would advise you, if you don't have the humility to receive what I'm about to say, just click off. Click off right now, because you will have no place to spew anything here. And you're not going to like what I have to say. So either you were genuinely looking for my help, which I am about to give you, but you're not going to like it, or you just wanted me to go, what a bitch, and take your side, which I'm not going to do because she wasn't the bitch here. Okay? So, preface. That was it. Now let's get to the meat of what's going on here. Now, first thing, we have no reference point to the timeline here. This beta boy gave us no indication as to the time frame before this 3 months. I don't know how long they had been together, that whole thing, and that's really irrelevant. Because what I keyed into, and I think all of you keyed in onto it as well, is the fact that he was so pissy about 3 months. 3 months of taking care of something other than his tiny little cock. Blew his mind. Couldn't handle it. And beyond that, it was 3 months of the bare minimum. Like, I'm sorry, someone was sick. I'm sorry, if it's your fucking fiance, yeah, you should fucking take care of them while they're sick. But here you are, beta boy, acting like you win the Nobel Prize for human decency? What the literal fuck is wrong with you? Like, literally. Your definition of a master-slave relationship is, and here's what happened. Here's what I see happen. You guys want to know the cycle that he's bitching about right now? I'm going to show you the cycle. It's very easy. Very, very easy to see. So we have here manipulative investment. The fact that he thought 3 months of care, of like basic, normal, just taking care of someone, he was like, 3 months. Okay, you know what? Tell that to my cousin who has been taking care of her quadriplegic son for the last 10 years, bitch. Don't talk to me about sacrifice. Don't talk to me about investment. And don't fucking come onto my platform expecting all of us to pat you on the back for doing the bare fucking minimum. You're full of shit. Now, what we have here is when you have someone that you love, you care about, that you want to invest in, and they're sick, you don't keep fucking tallies. And you don't go, I'm doing all of this for you to get. And if you're not willing to suck my cock for 12 hours a day when you're healed of COVID, fuck you. That is his mentality here. And what that tells me is this care that he was providing on such a low level for 3 months, feeling like he was king of the universe, was not actually care. It was not actually care, and it was not actually love. It was manipulation. It was manipulation, okay? No scorecards in loving relationships. But here's the thing. He was like, well, I did this for you, and I did this for you, I did this for you, I did this for you. So she should do whatever the fuck he commanded, right? Okay. So here's what happened. We had manipulative actions. We did not have authentic investment, okay? Do not expect the fucking benefits of submission unless you are willing to invest as a dominant. But you weren't. You were willing to manipulate very lazily, quite honestly. You're very lazy and you're very entitled, and it's very disgusting. But you were willing to manipulate for 3 months, and that's why his fuse is so short, is there was nothing there. There was no real investment or love or care. It was just a scorecard trying to get a reaction, right? So there's no actual devotion that was taking place. We just had manipulation, and then that led to no devotion. And then that no devotion he became angry about. because he wanted a slave that would suck his tiny dick for 12 hours a day. Okay? But there was no devotion bill. Okay? So then he became angry. And then, as he said, started creating distance. Either she started creating distance or he started creating distance. But the fact that you want to say she was mad that you were on your computer. Okay, well, if you were watching Dora the Explorer on your computer, I doubt that her feathers would have gotten ruffled. But here you are, thinking that I was born yesterday. Don't know what you mean by on my computer. I know exactly what the fuck you mean by I was on my computer and she was getting insecure and insecure and insecure. She would not have been insecure if you were watching the Disney Channel. So distance happened. Distance happened. And for fucking good reason, distance happened. Okay? But then, because this distance was happening, she was seeing that you're pulling away because you're resentful and you're bitter because she's not doing what the fuck you expected her to do. She's seeing that your interests, you're going other places. In your mind, in your heart, in your eyes even. Women can see that. They know what the fuck is up. So she brought this to you. And she said, I feel neglected. And then what did you do, Beta? You gave her zero understanding, zero empathy. Not only did you give her zero understanding and zero empathy, you minimized her. Probably gaslit, probably did a fuck ton of other bullshit. But you don't have the fucking audacity to do that. If my submissive ever came to me and genuinely said, I'm feeling neglected, that is a stop, drop everything, listen the fuck up and humble myself. That's what that is. But you didn't do that. You didn't do that, Beta. She told you how she was feeling and you said, no, you're not feeling that way. You're not feeling neglected. And if you are feeling neglected, you have no right to feel neglected. And then you wonder why she left. My guess is you've been doing this for 56 years. Well, at least the 38 that you've considered yourself a Dom. Which, by the way, please stop using that term because you're giving it such a bad name. You are. It's really disgusting that you use that term for what you did. So if you want my advice, you want my help, my advice is this. Stop using the term dominant as for yourself because you're giving it a bad name and you're confusing people. And then 2, stop dating everyone. Just don't try to date anyone. Don't try to get a sub. Don't try to get a slave. And find a good therapist. Because you don't get to this point of arrogance, entitlement, selfishness at 56 years old without some major shit that you need to deal with. So it's unfair and it's disgusting for you to consider yourself a master or a dominant in any way. You haven't mastered anything. You drove this girl away. If she was the one, that's not how you fucking treat the one. But yet you're not humble enough to take responsibility for that. It's all her. Fuck women. Okay. This is why you're alone. And this is why you're lonely. And you will probably die that way unless you start fucking growing up. And you need some major healing. You need some major healing. So, don't look for a submissive, look for a therapist. Okay. Does anyone else have anything they would like to add? You're now imagining this guy as Lord Farquaad? John coming in for the win. John coming in for the win. I should have just said that and left it, John. I should have just said that and left it. That was perfect. Also, Natalia, hello, baby. I'm so glad you're here. I was ranting, but I see you. Doms like that scare you? Do you think he's compensating for something? I think I think he's compensating for a lot of things. I honestly think as much as we like to get feisty, and we should, because this is disgusting behavior, and we are allowed to set boundaries and speak out against toxic behavior, but we also need to have compassion for this guy. Like, we do, because this is really sad. He's 56 years old, and he's still behaving like a 14-year-old porn-addicted child. That's sad. That's really, really sad. Like, it's just sad. And so we have to have a little bit of like, this is a person that has had some, you don't turn out this way. For if you're like well-loved and you haven't had any bad shit in your life, and you don't end up this way. Like, there's something that happened along the way. And that's why I'm speaking to, like, there's a reason why this boy feels right behaving like this. And that needs to be worked out. And that needs healing. It needs deep, deep healing. So I'm feisty, but I'm also trying to be compassionate. It's a tricky one. But hopefully they listen to you and get some help. Probably not. They probably tuned it out, clicked off the second I started getting feisty. And if they didn't, they probably are so raging right now. I don't even know. You know, like, unhealthy people cannot respond to health in a healthy way. And this little beta boy, clearly not healthy. And we were very healthy in our approach, in our purview, and in my advice to stop trying to find a submissive and start trying to find a therapist. That's very healthy advice. But this is a very unhealthy person, and unhealthy people cannot respond to health in a healthy way. Okay? In the middle of roasting, Miss Elle still has empathy. Well, that's the F and the J part of my personality. The J is just like driving it home, but the F, the feeler's like, you know, eat your broccoli. Right now, or okay. There's a little bit of a stretch. Okay. So my advice is broccoli. Now you're making people not want my advice. You know how few people like broccoli? Good call. Okay. Oh, well, 4 of them do. 4 of them do. Great. Okay. So now that we got that taken care of, I read that and I was like, oh, okay. We got to open with that one. So now that we have that out of our system, let's talk about a couple of patron questions. Because I spent some time on that one. I'm going to jump into some patron questions that were submitted directly to me this week. And then we'll talk about a couple of things that have happened in our community lately that I think are really, really good to talk about. And I think that those of you who are watching on YouTube as well will find it very, very educational, insightful, and helpful. So let's first jump into, hey, B-Muse, perfect timing. B-Muse, I know that you're an intuitive. Well fucking played, because I'm about to talk about your question. Now, also, B-Muse, if I know it's maybe your first time here, if you want to chat, follow up with me, go to the YouTube live chat channel and you can do so. But the question that came in was from one of my awesome dominant discourse trainees, students, whatever. And the question was, why, and I want all of your input, your juicy input, especially submissives. Why does a submissive enjoy being handled, owned, or dominated roughly? That is the question that was posed. So I have my answer already written down. I can show you. Let's see. I have my little outline here ready to go. But for those of you submissives who like being handled, who like it a little bit more rough, who like a little bit of CNC play, role play, whatever, what about coaxing a dominant to be more aggressive, more primal, give more ownership, right? What's the draw for you, subtypes? So I'm going to give you all a moment to share your insights as well. I'll share my answer. But you know, this is a conversation. This is a beautiful community, beautiful conversation. And I love all of your insights so much. So B-Muse, coming at you. We've got subtypes in the community right now that are going to share their insights with you, which I think is going to be very, very helpful and insightful, especially because we have so many different subtypes here. And that's the thing. BDSM is not a closet to come out of. It is a buffet to choose from. That same principle applies to submissive personalities. Why they like what they like. You can take 5 submissives who like impact play, and then we'll all give you a different answer of what they like about impact play and why. So it's all very, very organic. So Natalia here is saying it helps her get into a subhead space in a weird way. It helps me feel safe. Safety. That's the thing. If you're owned, that should be safety. That should be safety. I love that you said that, Natalia. I'm actually going to talk about that point real fast before I read anyone else's, because that was so great how you said that. And a great example to reinforce what Natalia is saying here is my dog, Jamie, gets groomed like once every 3 months. And of course, they have to take his collar off to, you know, cut his hair and everything like that. Well, when I bring him home, this last time they had turned his collar around, so our address is on the front and his name is on the back, and I, of course, was going to just flip that around. So I took his collar off real fast, and Jamie hates when I take his collar off, just like any good submissive. Jamie hates when I take his collar off, and he will, like, reach for it and try to bite it and hold on to it because he doesn't like being without it. And my philosophy with his response, and I know we're talking about a canine, not a human pet, but it very much translates. He loves having his collar on because that's a sign of ownership. But his ownership, hang with me, is a sign that he has a home. He has people. He has safety. Ownership should produce safety. And so I love what you're saying, Natalia, that feeling overpowered and handled and owned by someone that you trust revs up that level of ownership and therefore your sense of safety. I love that. I love that. So Little Faye is saying that it makes you feel special and safe and like you're wanted and cherished. Love that. So I think what Little Faye is speaking to right now is the pursuit element of a little bit more aggression, right? If you think about it, people pursue what they want. That's why it's so difficult to make someone, you know, work out when they don't want to work out. Like, we pursue pleasure, naturally. We pursue what we want. And so if a submissive is seeing such a hard, intense, aggressive pursuit, it does boost their ego because they're like, I'm wanted. They're hunting me down. They're chasing me. Like, they're hungry for me. And I absolutely see that too, Little Faye. Is that kind of what you were speaking to there? And Natalia, feel free to jump in and chime in with my answer as well. So John says, I love the powerlessness and stress relief. I can't really say why that is, though. It's just blissful. What I can explain better is that it shows trust. It shows me in the top that I trust them not to hurt me while causing pain. Absolutely. Absolutely. So this can be applied to impact play scenes or scenes without any impact play. But yes, it boils down to trust. It's a deep, deep exchange of trust. When you trust someone so deeply to be rough with you, to kind of manhandle you around a little bit, throw you around like a rag doll, because you like it. You like that passion and that energy, but you also feel safe because you can trust. That is just a beautiful, beautiful concoction. I love that she mentally shows her control, but the rougher physical play shows her physical control. So again, if you want to give up control consensually to someone that you love and that you trust, that control when they exert their authority, when they exert their power, when they exert their control over you, it's going to just fuel why you gave that control up in the first place. Absolutely. That makes total sense. Good. I'm glad I understood you, Patrick. That makes total sense. I feel like the feeling of being wanted and protected all at once. Yes, you feel protected because you know that the dominant isn't going to harm you, but we feel owned because we don't know what to expect. It's this delicious concoction in the brain. Plus, you're a small person, so you like feeling smaller than your dominant. Love that. Love that. Great insights. Great insights, everyone. This is why I open it up. And see, you enjoy it because it is very different headspace. Submission is very mindful, but this kind of interaction is like a little subby puddle vacation. So I'm hearing from Miss Elle's kitten here that she feels the difference between subspace and like primal space. Subspace, she doesn't clock out of her head fully, but primal space she does. Am I hearing that correctly? Feeling like you belong and the dominant being more aggressive or being more primal or making me feel owned gives you feelings in the belly. It's like, please do as you wish. Gives me feelings in the belly. Yes. I believe that Miss Elle's kitten would refer to the feelings in the belly as a subby shuffle. Is that correct? Did I get the right term for it? Yes, I got the right term for it. So what you're feeling is a little subby shuffle. So all of those are answers that I love and that I think are completely valid, and I love, love, love your insights. I want to add to that by kind of breaking it down a little bit differently, because you all know how my brain works. And I see 3 points of arousal in BDSM. You have submissive arousal, you have dominant arousal, and then you have sexual arousal. Most of the time, the sexual and the submissive arousal go together. They don't always, and they don't have to. But the majority of the time, they do. So, if we're applying all of these emotional feelings that they're feeling in subspace, that they're getting aroused by in subspace, their submission is getting aroused. Then we add sexual arousal to that. It's explosive at that point. So I think it speaks to submissives in a really, really multifaceted way to be handled and owned and overpowered because, I mean, in cases like what Miss Elle's kitten is saying, it could be like that where it takes a little bit more aggression to shift them fully out of their head. Or it can be fueling the sexual and submissive arousal together, and they're just playing off of each other and building this crazy intense cycle of psychological, emotional, and physical pleasure. So beyond that, I jotted down a list of things that in my experience are good whys behind the what to this question. What are submissives really looking for when they want to be handled? What are they wanting to get out of it? And so a couple of the things that I jotted down here is, and a lot of you have said it, a lot of you have said a lot of things on this list, which I love. But one of them is like what Natalia was saying, is being small and little, feeling small, feeling little, right? Being overpowered and feeling controlled. 20 minutes left. Okay, great. Being led and guided. Knowing that someone is leading you and guiding you mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually. That's like, I'm giving up all of my control. Yes, surrender. Absolutely, absolutely. Submissive arousal. They desire also to feel free of inhibitions. This is a big part of it, is a lot of times submissives want feisty things just like you, dominants, but they don't want to have to tell you, I want you to overpower me and do all these things, because that, just even them stating that request, one, can make them feel very, very vulnerable and they will avoid it sometimes. Or if they get in that space, they feel like it's less authentic because they told you what they wanted. They laid it out. They're like, now they're just following a script. And I don't want a script. I want the raw emotion. So I think that one of the reasons why submissives love being handled, a little bit more of a primal, aggressive kind of ownership or kind of play, is that they don't have to make those scary requests. They can kind of just sit back and let it happen to them without verbally stating it. And I've run into that a lot as well. Because they do. They want to freely express themselves. They want to be free of their inhibitions. But you, as the dominant, they're looking to you to strip those inhibitions away. And sometimes they want a little pushback. They like, well, I like my inhibitions. Don't take my inhibitions away. If they haven't called their safe word, keep going. It's frustrating to tell someone. Puts you out of subspace. Well, there you go. There you go. I think another one is, and I was kind of just talking about this, freedom and safety to explore and to fully express. If they want to cry, if they want to scream, if they want to whatever, they get to do that in a safe environment with their dominant. So I think that's another point of submissive arousal. Like we all were saying just a moment ago, feeling seen and hunted and pursued is a really great confidence boost. Really good confidence boost for submissives. Also, a big one that I found also is just the anticipatory energy that you create of being a little bit more detached. You create this anticipatory energy for your submissive where they feel more out of control, more owned because they don't know what to expect. They don't have the answers. And then, like Miss Elle's kitten was saying, free of stress and free of active thoughts. Sometimes the gateway to the brain is the body. And sometimes the brain and the emotions are so overwhelmed that talking your way through it is not as beneficial as if you could just break down the physical inhibitions that are often holding up the mental and emotional ones, and it causes a tremendous release. So I see all of those as benefits as well behind submissive arousal, for sure. And of course, if anyone has anything else that they would like to add, feel free to jump in at any time. But until you do, let's move on to the next question, which was submitted by another wonderful patron. And they asked, how would I, as a new Dom, start to explore so I and my new sub can discover our kinks, desires, curiosities, etc. that we are unaware that we have? Now, this one, you all might be anticipating a little bit of a different answer from me, but again, welcome to my brain. I just see things differently. And I was honing in on this question in a way that I want to dig into now. Does that sound good? Is everyone ready? Ready to go a little deep on this one? Ready. Okay. So I saw a big flaw in this question. And the big flaw in this question is in the last bit of the statement, where he says, how do we discover our kinks, desires, curiosities, etc., that we are unaware that we have? Now, if he was truly unaware that something existed, he wouldn't be asking about it. Does that make sense? Are you with me at least on that one? If he was truly unaware that something existed, you don't have a question about it. You have ignorance about it. Okay? Think about that for a minute. Because that's where my brain just like locked in onto about this one. And I feel like this is very, very common. Because what he's trying to ask and what he's actually saying are two different things. So, how do we discover our kinks, etc., that we are unaware that we have? And how I looked at it is like, if you have like a giant open field of just concrete, you can see there's just a slab of concrete. There is nothing on the concrete. There's just a slab of concrete. Is there anything to go explore? I mean, would you look at that slab of concrete from your house and be like, I need to check that shit out? Or can you already see it's a slab of concrete? Maybe at the end of the concrete? Well, let's say you could fully see that there's nothing at the end of the concrete. Okay? Fully see. There's nothing there. There's nothing to explore. There's nothing to beckon you, right? Right? Versus, if you looked out from your house and you saw a beautiful forest with all kinds of trees and bushes and plants and light, that's something that you go, I wonder what's over there. Right? So the fact that he is saying that he sees a forest indicates to me that there is some level of awareness as to what those kinks might be. You tracking with me? Anyone tracking with me? So, and I think this is relevant because I think it trips a lot of people up. So maybe they already did one of those lists. That's kind of what I'm thinking. How do you know if you like jalapenos if you don't try them? Right. But you know that there's jalapenos. That's what I'm saying. So the fact that he's asking me this question indicates to me that he knows there's jalapenos. But the question is saying, I don't know that there's jalapenos. That's my point. But not what it tastes like. Exactly. So that's where I'm like, okay, if you're a new dominant and you're wanting to explore with your submissive and try new things, I would advise you, because he said, I'm a new dominant with a new submissive. My hunch is that there's already some sort of knowledge, some sort of context as to potential desires, whether they did one of the lists or a test or something like that. Yes. And that would be my advice, is pace yourself, new dom, with a new sub. Pace yourself. There will be a time to go into that forest and find new things and explore new things and really branch out and really venture out. There is lots of food to add to the plate. Absolutely. And I'm not saying you can't try new things, but everything is new to you right now. You're a new dom, which you said you are, with a new sub, which you said you have. Everything is new to you right now. So I would focus on that. I would focus more than anything. If this is new, you don't need everything on the buffet table all at once. You can go back for seconds and thirds anytime. Yeah. And so I would say, don't try to keep up with some sort of something that you have in your head. My advice to you is build safety, trust, consistently. Because if you don't build safety and trust, if you don't lay that foundation and do it really, really well, there's never going to be any exploration. You knew that knife play was a thing and you had it as a hard limit until you actually saw a friend do it. Now you're keen to try it out on someone. Is that kind of what you mean? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is you have some sort of idea that, in the right context, I might want to try that out. But it's not I have no idea what I'm into and I need to go find it. You think you're making yourself hungry? So basically, what I'm saying is, if you haven't taken, Dominic who asked this question, if you haven't already taken some sort of assessment, some BDSM test to see general categories of things you typically like and general categories of what your submissive typically likes, that is an excellent place to start because, like I said, it will give you broad categories of play. You have your submissive take that test. Maybe you think that she is really into bondage and you're really hoping for that. Maybe she scores less on that than you thought. Then that's a matter of exploration because that's a matter of, okay, you might want to push her safely and consensually into some more acts of bondage, but that's going to have to take some time. Do you see what I'm saying? Once you get the knowledge about your submissive, you kind of know how to pace and where and what. Uncle Google is a fantastic resource to find out about the categories after the test too. Well, I wouldn't do a whole lot of Google. If you would like some reputable sites that I trust, I would be happy to link them here in Discord. But I think broad brushing it and say, just ask Google is not a good thing. A scary adventure. Yes. Yes. So that's the first thing. I would say if you haven't started out with some sort of test or assessment like that to give you general categories of areas that you might be interested in, that your submissive might be interested in, start there. That's absolutely the first step. I would also say, tight, assert you, scary stuff is everywhere. So again, I think the biggest tool when you're getting to know a submissive and just in general is be curious. Stay curious. Ask lots of questions. If you take a test, you do some sort of assessment with your submissive, don't just take the things that you find on that list at face value. Ask. That's good definitions for a lot of, right, but that's what I'm saying. Don't just stop at the test. Be curious about what comes up on the test. Be curious about what comes up in this assessment. Ask your submissive questions. Okay, it shows that you scored, high on masochism. Great. Do you know what that looks like to you? Do you have any fantasies? Have you ever thought about someone spanking you before? Whatever. And that, just opening up the doors of communication, will help you really get a lot of knowledge about your submissive. So that you know, okay, we're not doing this now, but this is an area that we can go next. This is an area of exploration. Absolutely. Hail the spank fairy. Yes. So, also, play where you currently are. That's what I was trying to convey before. Pace yourself. Pace yourself. There will be a day that both of you will be like, man, I'm bored with this. I want to try this. I want to try this. I want to try this. Great. But don't accelerate that pace if you don't need to. If you both are really enjoying how you're playing right now, then maybe just add new elements of things. Like if you have only been playing with cuffs, but you're like, ooh, I really want to try something else, throw in some bondage tape. It's still bondage. It's still something that is comfortable and feels safe and known to you, your submissive, but it's a new element. It's a new way to play in bondage. And that will slowly start opening up your mind, your submissive's mind, etc. Go very slowly. 10 minutes till the hour? Okay. So is that making sense? Anyone tracking with me on that one? And then also I have 2 other guides. So we've got, I said, take the BDSM test or some sort of assessment to get you kind of mapping it out, so to speak. But then I have 2 guides for you on my Patreon. The first one is a sub-training guide, and then the second one is a scene building guide. Now, the sub-training guide is like 7 pages, and essentially what this will help you do, newbie dominant, is get a very, very clear fence line. Get a very, very clear border where you know these are the things that my submissive really likes, they enjoy, they respond well to. Here's how I can reward my submissive. Here's how I can incentivize their obedience and their devotion, all of these things. But then you also see these are the things, these are their hard limits that I will never ever punish with, I will never ever discipline with. But these are the things that they may not love, they may not enjoy, but they still consent to. And I can use these as punishments. I can use these to redirect motivations, intentions, etc. Dinner time. All right, Natalia. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Have a great night. So, am I making sense? The more knowledge that you have as a newbie Dom, the more you can start inviting into your scene, inviting into your play. You think so? John is a little confused. John, I got you. You love the hair? Thank you. Thank you. I wrote most of my outlines and stuff by the pool today, and I just didn't really want to do it. I just kind of wanted to check it out. Explore the buffet table, one section at a time, makes sense. And it's not even that. Like, I don't want you to get the impression that, like, you have to stay with what you're playing with, and you can't branch out, and you can't go, well, that looks yummy over there, and add that to your plate. Like, you have to stay here, and then try this, and then try this. And I don't feel like that's what Miss Ellis Kent was trying to convey either. That's definitely not what I'm trying to convey. You can pick and choose little things, but what I'm trying to answer is there a way to kind of create a systemic flow? And that's what I'm trying to give to our boy right here. It's just more of don't go from 0 to 100 too fast. Yeah, you have to have somewhere to go. Like, if you go to the most, in your mind, the most extreme of extreme of extreme, and that's all relative anyway, like, okay, then where do you have to go when you get bored with that thing, right? And it's not that, I mean, I've never really reached an area or a level, if you can quantify it that way, in BDSM where it's like, oh, everything that I've done before is boring. And now I need bigger and better and badder and more intense, and that's not how I see it at all. And I've never gotten bored. I think if you're creative and you enjoy playing with your partner and you enjoy being with your partner, then you can continuously explore together. But I think a lot of people jump to, like Faye was saying, 100. Like, well, wait a minute. You missed out on the first 10, the first 20, the first 30, the first 40. Creativity is yummy. Subby snacks. All right. So, yes, that would be my next thing, the sub training guide. And then, addition to that, we've got the scene building guide. So, once you kind of know what your submissive's hard limits are, what they're curious about, what they really like, what they consider punishments, what they consider punishments, etc., then you can go to the scene building guide. And that's something that will literally walk you through how to plan it, how to set the mood, what to do in the middle. All of that, I have that on Patreon as well. All right, so I know we've got less. You appreciate all of my guides. Good, I'm so glad you find them helpful. Good, good, good. Wonderful. So I know that we have about 10 minutes or so left, probably a little less than. And I wanted to discuss something that I found very touching today on Discord. Absolutely. But see, John, even that strategy confirms what we're talking about. It's a little sample, a little taste. So that we're like, ooh, that was yummy. I want to put more of that on my plate next time. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said, John. Great analogy. Great analogy. So, okay. Last thing that I wanted to discuss today, before we wrap it up, is the moment that took place in Discord this morning. And I'm not going to go into details for YouTube, for those of you who are not on the Discord, who don't know what happened. But basically, the broad stroke of it is I communicated a boundary with my community, and someone in my community had violated that boundary before I said it. Now, to me, and to most of the people in the Discord, this boundary was like a no-brainer. It was a given. It was not something that I felt I had to say, but it came up that, okay, I do need to address this. And so I did it, and I wasn't mad about it. I was just very direct, set the boundary. And this person that had violated that boundary previously, their initial response was just gushing with apology and humility and just asking for forgiveness. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about, because I was so touched by that. And why I was so touched by that is there was a beautiful opportunity that took place. And there's some beautiful fruit that grew out of that. And I want to bridge it with the principle of building devotion through forgiveness. We had an instance today where this person felt genuinely contrite, felt genuinely humbled. They even said, I feel ashamed of myself. When you are trying to convey a point to your submissive, they stepped out of line, they were disobedient, they were disrespectful, whatever. And your submissive reaches that point where they emotionally fall to their knees, fall on their face, are crying, are so full of remorse, are so full of humility, have received what you have to say, have promised you they're not going to do it again, whatever. I think that it's a very, very powerful thing to offer forgiveness as a way to build devotion. And that's what happened today. Not that you can't address it. It was addressed. This person is just very sensitive and very sweet, and I didn't have to escalate. I didn't have to go really hard and heavy and aggressive with this person. And I saw the break happen. And dominance, when you see that break, that genuine repentance where your submissive is going this way and they're like, oh shit, I have to turn around. I'm so sorry. Yeah, you absolutely still can punish. But what's so fun about this lifestyle. But I would like to throw the idea out of punishing as a result of the forgiveness, not as means to earn it. And I think there's a difference there. Because when your submissive feels constantly in trouble and constantly punished, they're probably going to be more likely to hide, to not talk to you, to walk on eggshells, whatever, because there's this constant fear of punishment. Beyond that, your punishment is going to lack effectiveness if you just get angry and punish all the time, offended and triggered and angry all the time. But if you can break them down to that point where they feel so exposed under you, they're feeling the power. They're feeling like you're up here and they fucked up. What a beautiful feeling it is for that submissive to feel like you will peel them off the floor. And that you say, you know what, I'm very displeased with your behavior and we will address that. But I forgive you. We're still going to address it. Oh, we're going to address it. But we're addressing it. I'm going to punish you over this because I love you and I care about you. And I don't want this to happen again. And I don't want this disconnection to take place again. I think that's the place that punishment should come from. Not, you fucked up, you're going to be punished. You fucked up, you're going to be punished. You fucked up, you're going to be... Yeah, it's consequences. Every action has a consequence, either good or bad. But when you break your submissive down emotionally, where they fall on their knees, they feel like a piece of shit. They feel horrible. They feel embarrassed. They feel ashamed. You will glue them to you by getting down there with them, peeling them off the floor, looking them in the eyes, maybe giving them a kiss or something, you know, and saying, yeah, you did fuck up, but I forgive you, and I love you, and we're going to move forward. We're going to handle this, and we're going to move forward. And that's what took place today. And I think when that lack of fear and that lack of condemnation or shame, when there's that lack, when the dominant isn't pushing that on the submissive, there's deep, deep, deep devotion. Because they know they don't deserve your forgiveness. But they have it. And then you can punish. And then you can redirect behavior. Does that make sense, how I laid that out? That's the fruit that I saw happen today. Good, it makes sense. So again, I'm not saying dominants don't have boundaries, don't have expectations and rules, and absolutely have boundaries, have expectations, have rules. Demand obedience, demand respect from your submissive, all of those things. But when they're broken down, when they're on their knees, they feel that inferior to you. Got a lot of power there. And you have the power at that point to leverage dominance, to leverage their pain, their shame, their remorse for deep, deep devotion. Deep devotion. And then when you go swinging an implement and it causes physical pain and they're being punished, or not even that, just some sort of other punishment that would be effective, you're still absolutely getting your point across. And they're going to remember that. But they're going to remember your love in the punishment, your forgiveness in the punishment, how they don't have to fear it. They can be changed by it. See the difference? Felt a ripple through your stomach there. Oh, I love stomach ripples. Stomach ripples are excellent. John is typing. I want to give John a chance to say something. And I'm sorry your work is distracting you, John. I wish that you could be clocked out and enjoying your time with us without distractions. But so glad that made sense to everyone. I saw that this morning and I just thought, that was a really beautiful moment. And I'm not saying it to do this or anything, because really it's more about Shy at this point. And the reaction that Shy had was so beautiful. So beautiful. Because I also know her. When you know you're submissive and you know their character, you know that, they were just being really mindless, careless, whatever. Yeah, is there going to be a consequence to that? Sure. But should that consequence be different than if they just overtly, just completely disobeyed and disrespected you and made you feel like you did not have authority? It's different. The consequence is going to be different. Mine too, work, but you're listening. Oh, Patrick, I'm so sorry. In that moment, you can extend their pain or you can inspire devotion. They are already being awful to themselves. Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. Absolutely. You can extend their pain or you can inspire devotion. Really well said, John. I feel that in my soul. And that's the thing. And that's why, circling back to the first topic that we talked about today, there was no devotion that was inspired. There was no devotion that was inspired. And it's like, what do we expect, dominance? Motivation does not last. You're not going to be able to play every day for the rest of your life. So what do you do? What do you do? How do you receive that kind of investment and obedience from a submissive? You inspire devotion. And that's what the beta boy in our first question, he did not do at all. And that's really the key. We talk a lot about the flow of intimacy, safety, trust, vulnerability, intimacy being the goal, even in BDSM. Full expression, full radical expression. This is what I like, this is what I want, this is what I'm into, all of that. That's what we want, intimacy. But along the safety, trust, vulnerability line, that's the mix that devotion starts being stirred up in. But can't have it without, can't have the intimacy without the other thing. And that's what McBeta's son, as Matt is calling him, was expecting. He was expecting complete devotion when he didn't invest anything. And no, 3 months of taking care of someone when they're sick does not, in my mind, equal radical investment. Especially if it's your fiance. Oh, but anyway, before I start getting worked up again, pivot. Devotion is beyond loyalty, in my opinion. Well, that's going to take us on what's the difference between devotion and loyalty and what comes first, the chicken or the egg. See, she does this to me, children. She will, for those of you who don't know, I mean, you probably should. Miss Elle's Kitten is my sub. She's like, it'll be like 11:30 at night. And she'll ask me these like existential questions. I'm like, well, guess I'm not winding down for sleep anymore. Your INFJ is showing? Well, my INFJ is showing too. That's basically what the whole life is. An INFJ being an INFJ. It's a talent she has. Well, we get each other going. And that's when it's not good. I mean, you can pledge loyalty to the grocery store. You don't give devotion to bonds. We're going to talk about this one. Vaughn gives me soup when I'm sick. Oh, she's feeling savage right now. She's feeling savage. She's still brooding over our beta boy at the beginning. What are Vaughn's? Matt, it's a grocery store. Just context, honey. She said grocery store. Then she said Vaughn's. Then she said soup. Context. Context. All right. And she's feeling feisty. Feisty. This one. Which is fine. Vaughn gives me soup when I'm sick. So, beta. Oh, I hear it from here. I hear the sass. I hear the voice. All right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Now, Graham and Miss Elle's Kitten, don't leave me because you have to tell me how to log off of everything. But for the rest of you, it shall be done. Thank you. Yeah, that's pretty much it, John. Pretty much. Loved the stream tonight. I'm so glad you enjoyed the stream tonight. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I also enjoyed the stream tonight. Did the rest of you enjoy the stream tonight? Dr. K, John, Little Faye, Mr. Growls, Miss Ellis Kitten, Paris Baby, Patrick, Sweet Tea. Rose, hello, hello. Lovely stream. It was good. So did I. Hail, hail. You like burning betas for breakfast, but it's dinner time for you. Yes, Paris baby. Hey, baby. I'm so glad you are here. Yes, loved it. Good. Good, good, good. Do questions that are left go to the next one? Oh my gosh, yes. I have literally probably 30 to 40 questions, not including the ones that I listed today. So we're going to be fine on content for a while, children. I do. I have a book. I just keep a book. Anytime someone asks me a question, I'm like, you know what? That's a good one. I'll just jot it down. We'll get to it. Oh, nears. Yes, those are good num-nums. Those are very good num-nums. And you don't have to apologize for anything. You've done nothing wrong. You're having dinner, Dr. K. And you're allowed to have dinner. Okay? Okay, Dr. K? Oof, you got the look. She gets that look often, too. That's fine. If it's not Miss L's kid, it's Dr. K. Absolutely. We are receivers of the look, twins. I thought you liked the look. Scared little kitten lost in the woods that doesn't know where she is or where to go. There it is. There it is. Can you have your head back? No, 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 no. That's my territory now. My territory now. Oh, good. I don't really want it back. See, now we're just getting silly. I know, she's feeling relaxed and happy now. She got to burn a beta for breakfast, even though it's dinner. It's silly time. Maths. I think it's always. Do we pass that point somewhere back there? I don't know. I mean, we have our silly times, and then we have like our get down to business times. I felt like this was more of a get down to business. Yeah, today was heavy. Grateful to just be silly. Do we need a silly moment before we go? Always, always a silly moment. Can you throw a mud pie? 30-second dance party. You head it up, Dr. K. Go for it. Can you throw a mud pie? Can you or may you? I love what's happening right now. They're just starting to post gifts. And who are you going to throw a mud pie at? Faye? Faye. Faye, you're about to get mud pied in the face. It's always... She told me. She told me that she was going to do this. I'm going to throw mud pies at little Faye tonight. Yep. Yep. So everyone's posting gifs of dancing and mud pies being thrown about. If you would like to join the safest and obviously silliest kinky community out there, head over to patreon.com/LXerotica and you can hang out with me and all these crazy kinksters every single Friday. Not only that, my submissive and I, Miss L's kitten, are starting a new segment next week at the $30 and $50 tiers on Patreon, and it is called the Kinky Roundtable. We're going to do something like this, but all of you get to talk with us, voice to voice. It's going to be a smaller group. She and I are going to bring issues and things that we're dealing with in our dynamics, some insights, some things that we've run into, some really amazing perspectives. We're going to be there to talk to you guys, answer your questions, get silly, get playful, whatever. But I wanted this to be a way for you all to get some insight into me and my dynamic in a little bit of a deeper way that you don't normally get to. Now, I know we're very, very open here on Discord, but this is going to take it up a notch a little bit. So I cannot wait to hang out with you. We have been planning some really amazing topics. Have we not, Kitten? Don't leave me hanging here by myself. I feel like our topics are absolutely amazing. Subby Shuffle, that's a yes, everyone. Subby Shuffle means yes. It's going to be epic. Always amazing. It's going to be so good. Good, good, good. Massive lists of glorious things. Massive lists of glorious things. Absolutely. So, you want to hang out with us for that, plus get all archive of every piece of content I've ever made on Patreon. Join the $30 or $50 tier. Well, you can't do the $50 tier because that's sold out. But join the $30 tier and you can join us. Okay? Next Wednesday? We're doing it next Wednesday, right? Oh no, I think I double booked myself. Damn it. I forgot. Okay, coaching clients. I might have to reschedule with some of you. Okay. So, on that note, let me go look at my calendar now. Oopsie. Well, I see I didn't have the thing on my calendar because it's new and I didn't put it in my thing yet. Oops! So, I will get back to you guys. Got to start packing things up for the day. All right, John. Thanks so much for hanging out with us while they just trapped you at work. So glad that you were able to be here. You need a sub to look after your calendar? No, Graham. No. Trust me. You don't think I thought of that? No. I am a very visual person. Even if I tell her to put things on my calendar, if I do not see it on my calendar, I do not trust that it is there. So she might know, but then I would forget. And then, it was it's just way more efficient for me to just fuck my own self over on scheduling issues. You feel that? Thank you, Dr. K, because I'd be like, wait, did I have something today or did I not? And I'd check with her like 30 times a day. So anyway, very visual. Dr. K feels my pain and my need for control at all times. Anyway, on that note, yay for control. Faye, you cracked me up. Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, my dears, thank you so much for your fun, for your laughter, for your energy, for your insights this evening. For that, I won't throw mud at you, Faye. That was good. Good job, Faye. So anyway, thank you all so much for hanging out with me and for those of you who are watching on YouTube, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me and my peeps. If you would like to do that, again, like I said, just go over to patreon.com/AlexErotica and you will be able to join us, talk to us, talk with us. We have a live event every Friday, plus a new live event next Wednesday. So, join us, join the fun. I can't wait to see you. So, everyone, I will talk to you next Friday. We got another Q&A next Friday. I don't know the date next Friday. Count 7 days from the date. Is that the 18th? 19th? Thank you. June 19th. June 19th. We are doing another... Wait, isn't today the 11th? Thank you. I counted it right the first time. Gag self? Good. Do it and send me a selfie. It was worth it. Just for that. And now she pouts. I don't give a shit. This is for my enjoyment, not yours. Go. 19th is a Saturday. Would be 7 days for you, though. It's not Saturday. It's the 18th. It's Friday, and it's at 6 p.m. CDT. Ignore Miss Elle's kitten right now. Just right now. Normally, she knows what she's talking about. Not right now. All right? So, we on your time. Yes. We are on complete submission time. as Graham calls it, and I really appreciate that. All right, so everyone, I will see you next Friday, June 18th, 6 p.m. for another Q&A, and of course, for those of you who are on Discord, I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a great week, everyone. Looking forward to it. All right, good night, everyone. All right, so what do I do now to shut all this down, Graham? Have a good night. That's why I asked Graham.
What was that?
End the stream first. She's gagged right now. I told her to. So she... Oh, it was good.
Yes.
Okay, so end the YouTube stream first.
Yep, OBS.
Wait, OBS or YouTube?
Well, if you do YouTube first, that'll cut it off. And then OBS.
Okay, let's do that. All right, YouTube. Took us a minute to figure it out, but we're peacing out now. Good night. All right.